Good evening. Thank you for joining us here tonight on KREM 2 News at 10. I'm Joshua Robinson, and we've seen a change in the weather tonight as some much-needed rain fell on Friday night football games across the inland Northwest. We're going to get right to meteorologist Michelle Boss to find out just how long it's going to be sticking around.
That rain's going to be sticking around overnight, and everybody's sharing in the wet weather. Let's take a look at some of the rainfall totals at the Spokane Airport. 1/1300ths of an inch. That's a pretty good amount, and the rain is not over yet. Colville, 100th of an inch. Pullman, about 1200ths. Moses Lake getting the lion's share, nearly half an inch there. Sandpoint, 500ths. But as you can see on radar, we still have plenty more rain to see overnight. So again, much needed rain falling across the region. Kind of zooming into the Spokane area, you can see scattered shower activity continuing to push through Spokane, the Spokane Valley, and Coeur d'Alene. The heaviest rain right now across central Washington between George, Moses Lake, Soap Lake, and Grand Coulee, and that rainfall will continue to rotate through the area, pushing to the east and northeast overnight. Temperature-wise, we're in the 50s and lower 60s across much of the area. 58 right now in Spokane. Here's a look at the next 3 days. Wonderful rain happening right now, but we'll see some sunshine for the weekend as things dry out tomorrow. Partly cloudy tomorrow afternoon, 73. A gorgeous day on Sunday, 74 degrees, and lots of sunshine to start your week on Monday with highs in the lower 70s.
We are just hours away from the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks that happened 20 years ago. Of course, as anyone who looks across New York sees those two beams of light that came from where the two planes crashed on that historical day. But tomorrow, events around the nation, including in Washington, D.C. and New York, will be held to remember those who lost their lives that day. CBS's Michael George reports from Ground Zero.
On the eve of the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, people are coming to where the Twin Towers once stood, including firefighter Nate Smith from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He brought his family to pay their respects.
Just to kind of pay tribute to fallen brothers and sisters. It's pretty emotional.
At the New York Stock Exchange, traders held a moment of silence to mark the day. On 9/11, St. Nicholas Church was destroyed when the towers came down. It's taken 20 years to rebuild, but today, finally, the cross was placed back on top. Near the nation's capital, bells rang 3 times, one for each location planes hit on September 11th. FBI Director Christopher Wray says the agency lives every day as if it's September 10th.
Every day we wake up asking ourselves, what do we need to do to keep people safe today and tomorrow and the day after?
Tomorrow, ceremonies will mark the anniversary at the Pentagon, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and New York City. The Director of Homeland Security met with New York officials today, guaranteeing the safety of residents and visitors.
We have a very resilient and strong counterterrorism overlay that is thousands of uniformed and civilian members overlaid with bomb detection, overlaid with long guns, as the governor said, and that should reassure people, not alarm people.
The Department of Homeland Security says there are no credible threats from any terrorist groups or individuals. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Honoring and remembering the men and women lost during 9/11 was also the focus today at a ceremony at Fairchild Air Force Base. As you can hear there, the ceremony included a flag retreat and the ringing of the bell. Fairchild representatives say the ringing of the bell is to honor those who can no longer respond to a call.
Today is just a great day to look back and reflect over the last 20 years, and looking back to September 11th, 2001, and remember the people that died on that day, remember the heroes that served our country and served their fellow citizens. And as we reflect on that, it's just a good time to look into our own lives and remember what our country's capable of when we're united by a common cause.
Today's ceremony was moved from outside to inside Fairchild's firehouse due to the rain. It is also the day that many of us will never forget. Tomorrow, we'll all remember where we were and what we were doing on September 11th, 2001. As we honor the men and women who lost their lives on that day, KREM 2's Channing Curtis got a chance to speak with a Spokane man who 20 years ago risked his own life to keep others safe when a plane hit the Pentagon. Retired Army Master Sergeant Jerry Warren is a Bellingham native and worked at the Pentagon for 18 years. On the morning of September 11th, he was in Corridor 5 of the Pentagon waiting for his computer class to begin.
We had no idea that Tower 1 had even been hit. And so a person came in the classroom at about 9:15 and said, you won't believe it, Tower 2's been hit. as well. And at that point, like, what? So I got on CNN on my computer, and everybody huddled around. We were looking at it and going, what the heck is going on?
To this day, photos and videos from the aftermath of the attacks are still disheartening and hard to look at, but Warren says he feels it was his purpose to be there and help where he could. Now, as we look back 20 years later, Warren says it is still just as important to remember those men and women who lost their lives that day. If you would like to see his full story, check out KREM.com. Today, Spokane County health care providers came together to say our hospitals are severely stressed. Some are even seeing the numbers of COVID patients at an all-time high. Providence Sacred Heart is reporting 150 COVID patients in its care today. That's the most COVID patients they've ever had. In a joint press conference today, COO Peg Curry says most of these patients are in ICU, and she emphasized everyone in the ICU and on a ventilator right now are not vaccinated. She shared with us what COVID patients are experiencing right now.
For those patients not yet on a ventilator, they're gasping. They can't get a full breath. They have to sit up to breathe and lean forward. They're exhausted from trying to breathe. They can't sleep because they can't breathe. It is misery.
The age group Providence says they are seeing most in their hospitals are between 40 and 50 years old. Curry says that this is much younger than patients who were previously hospitalized. And that joint press conference was hosted by the Spokane Regional Health District, Chaz Health, Kaiser Permanente, Multicare, and Providence. KREM 2's Whitney Ward spoke with the heads of both Multicare and Sacred Heart about what this has meant for the two biggest hospitals in our region.
Don't tip us over the edge. Please get vaccinated so we can pull back from this dangerous place where we are. We are committed to caring for our communities. We do not want to be in crisis standard of care. So we're hanging in there staff-wise, but we could certainly use some relief.
Are we close to that? How close are we to having to institute crisis standards of care?
At least in my hospitals, I don't believe we're there today. I do believe that we're stressed. And that's why we came together today to present this message.
We want to do everything we can to avoid crisis standards of care. What it means is you're rationing care. You're making choices through a good team of physicians and ethicists in determining who's going to get what. And that is a very scary place to be for our country, our state, and we're working together very hard to avoid that. I agree with David, we're in a stressful position right now, and that's why we're here to implore all of you to get vaccinated, to be cautious, to avoid large gatherings, and to mask up.
You trust us with your heart attacks, you trust us with your delivering your babies, you trust us to take care of your cancer. We're here for you, and we implore you to please follow our medical advice.
How are you trying to get that message across to people who are very reluctant to get this vaccine?
I would ask them to evaluate carefully their sources of information. The Public Health Department, the CDC, all the organized healthcare providers that are dedicated and have dedicated their professional lives to taking care of our patients and our community are all saying the same thing. It's a very consistent message, a very simple message. The vaccines are safe. There's plenty of evidence that shows that. And wearing a mask also protects not just yourself, but others.
The Spokane Regional Health Officer also told us they are working to get better access to COVID testing in the Spokane area. They're hoping to bring back a mass testing site, but they are still waiting on that approval from the State Department of Health. Let's take a closer look tonight at the numbers in Spokane County. The number of people hospitalized continues to keep growing. The health district reported 225 patients are hospitalized with COVID right now. 358 new cases were reported today, as well as 4 new deaths. Taking a look now at coronavirus numbers in North Idaho, the Panhandle Health District is reporting 112 patients are hospitalized with COVID right now. 153 new cases were reported today as well. No new deaths were reported. For more information on the COVID surge, you can text the word COVID to 509-448-2000. Well, today, Governor Little is opposing President Biden on a new coronavirus mandate. Up ahead, we'll tell you why Little is exploring legal actions. And a little later in our newscast, a new show starring Jay Leno is premiering on Monday, and our Mark Hanrahan got to sit down and chat with Jay about it. KREM 2 News at 10 is back in just 90 seconds.